Welcome to the course of data science with R. First lesson, Introduction to Data Science. In this topic, we are going to discuss what is meaning of business analytics, how business analytics evolved, different types of analytics, and different kind of application of business analytics. So before we actually understand what is business analytics or data science or machine learning, let's try to understand what is the need of it and why do people actually use this thing. So day to day basis, different organization try to solve different business question. So when I say business question, I mean by that like how much you have to stock for inventory, which seller may miss the target order, or which factor can influence the customer preferences, what kind of customer sentiment is there about your product, all those business question. Now these business question can be solved in two different way. The first approach is the traditional approach, where we try to do it based on our gut feelings. So we hire a senior person who has a lot of business knowledge and they try to take the strategy based on their business knowledge. But the second approach is about data driven decision making, which is normally by being adopted by all the organization in today's world. That is why we are learning. So all these companies are actually collecting data, then they are storing the data, then processing, and then ultimately analyzing. While analyzing, we are using a lot of different statistical techniques, and once our analysis has been done, we can show it in a dashboard. And that is how a roadmap from data to insight is being driven. And that is why we are trying to focus mostly this part where we are going to learn about the business analytics. So as I said, business analytics is the practice of methodical exploration of an organization data through statistical analysis. And business analysis is used by those companies who wants to become a data driven organization. And all the organization is focusing to exploit their data to gain competitive advantage. Now let's discuss the second thing, how these analytics actually evolved. So these business analytics should have been done long back, or maybe there are a lot of statisticians who are actually using all those things. But then why we are not discussing all those things maybe 10 years back? Why today? So the reason behind it is there was a time, maybe around 2008, 2010, when there was sudden change in data. So there was lot of volume of data because people were actually tweeting, they were creating YouTube video, they were posting in Facebook. So lot of different kind of data suddenly came, and to store these kind of data you need to have different kind of hardware where you can store all those data. So then we tried to find out a cheap commodity hardware where we can store all those things, and we found our answer in Hadoop, where we can store all those data. Now once the data is being stored, then we are trying to find out how we can analyze so much data. Then we need faster processing. So that's why then again we found our answer in MapReduce. Using MapReduce technique, you can process those huge data in fraction of second. And if you can see the trend also in last 10 year, technology cost to store a data is going to be decreased. And then the third thing, and if you see the processing power also increasing for last decade. Now combining these two factor, we fact combining these two factor, we understood that we can store a data, we can analyze the data. Now third question is now how to get the insight out of the data. That's why come the third stage, which is about machine learning. So using machine learning techniques, we can actually understand a data in a much better way. We can extract the insight from the data. So these are the three reasons, because of that we are using it. To give you a perspective, to give you an example, if you think about decision tree or neural network, these two are actually one of the machine learning algorithm which were being invented in 70s. But that time, if you try to do a decision tree, run a decision tree on top of 1 GB of data, it would take maybe half an hour. But in today's world, with Hadoop and with all those techniques, we can do the same thing in 1 second maybe. That's how it evolved, and that's how we are moving forward. Now, coming to the what are the different kind of business analytics we have. As you can see in this graph, the more and more you move from this down to up, from descriptive to prescriptive, the complexity is higher. So is your business value or skill level. So we started with this descriptive analytics. So if you know more about how something happened, how a business event happened, if you are interested in those kind of thing, then that is descriptive analytics. Then if you want to go one level down and want to understand why it happened, then that's a diagnostic. But still that doesn't give you what would happen. So that doesn't give you that much information. That's why we use predictive modeling and forecasting to understand what might happen. So that is our predictive analytics. And the last one is prescriptive analytics, where it won't only tell me that what would happen, it would also tell me what you have to do. Like we have a prescription for a from a doctor. Similarly, the model output would actually tell you what would happen and what you have to do. Let's take a deep dive for each of these four different analytics. So as I said, descriptive analytics is the most easiest one, where you want to understand about what exactly happened. And for that, we already have so many tools out there, and like you have Tableau, ClickView, MicroStrategy, Google Analytics, and lot of other BI tool as well. And as you know that a lot of these BI tool has been used in last decade for doing lot of BI work. So to take an example, we can say that analyzing past 6 months sales data and identify top 10 selling product. So this is a typical example of a descriptive analytics. Similarly, I can say analyzing customer comment on Twitter and count positive and negative comment. So those are descriptive in nature. It doesn't tell you why it happened or what would happen. Now come the second one, which is about diagnostic analytics. So it's more about why it happened. So using some statistical technique, which would be discussed in further subsequent lesson. So why it happened, it can tell you why it might happen. So example is like analyze why the sales was down in particular region, or analyze why customer leave your organization, those kind of thing. Now still till this point we were only discussing about the past historical data and how it behaved. Now the third and more complex and give you more business value, which is about predictive. So example is predicting future sales based on past historical data. So what we do, we run a machine learning algorithm to our historical data, and our algorithm runs on its own, and then it tries to predict what would happen. So it not only tells you that what exactly happened, it learns from it and gives you a better result, which would be about the future. Now even predictive cannot tell you what you have to do. That is why we have prescriptive analytics, which is the last one and most sophisticated, which works on a optimization algorithm. So a optimization algorithm runs and identify all the scenario where you have those predictive output. For predictive output 1, predictive output 2, 3, 4, 5, it actually tells you what you have to do. So suppose it predict that maybe your sales is going to be down in Delhi. Now it would also tell you why this is happening, because you did not have the inventory in time. So this time you keep your inventory. Or maybe another reason, last time when the promotion was happening, you could not deliver in time. That's why a lot of people actually cancel the order. So this time you try to tie up with your third party who can actually deliver for you. So your customer satisfaction is good and your sales is also up. So that is how this prescriptive is different from a predictive. So coming to the example, so in a supply chain analytics, we can see that finding best route to deliver a product. So you have a lot of products to deliver within a same day, and you have in different routes. So this prescriptive model would tell you that which is the route you should take and at what time you should deliver. Similarly, in marketing, we have different marketing channel and you can spend in each of those marketing channel, but a prescriptive model would tell you how much you should actually invest in each of those channel. So first it would predict that if you invest in this channel, then what would be your ROI, return on investment, and then it would tell you based on your business objective, whether you want to improve your profit or improve your revenue, it would tell you how much you have to invest. Similarly, in retail also, so we use price markdown model where it would tell you how much you should give discount and at what time. So it would tell you that kind of prescription as well. So having the understanding about all those four, so summarizing, so we had descriptive where we are trying to understand what happened using all those BI tools, then diagnostic, why did it happen, then using predictive modeling and forecasting technique we can understand what might happen, and then the prescriptive model, it would tell you even if it happens, then what you have to do. Okay, now using these four techniques, what we can do, we can actually automate the whole process. How? If you see the descriptive, first the descriptive, we are actually dealing with a lot of data and we are using some technique, and based on that we are taking a decision. A decision is nothing but outcome would be some action. Okay, so now if we talk about the descriptive analytics, then human or maybe the marketing manager or you have to actually take the decision based on the output from your descriptive model. Now in the diagnostic also, maybe your human input is bit less, but still you have to take the decision based on the output. Now in predictive, since it can actually predict, so your input or your strategy making decision actually goes away and you are taking the decision based on the data or based on the predictive output. Now in prescriptive model, you don't need to do anything, everything is being driven by the model itself, and based on the model you are simply taking the decision, and that is how we are moving from descriptive to prescriptive, and that's how we are moving to a traditional organization to a data driven organization. Now coming to our analytics application use cases. So as I said, the analytics has a huge application and there is not a single industry which is not being impacted by analytics. So there are so many analytical use cases, but I would explain you in the next video that what we can achieve, which are the use cases we can achieve by what business function and by what technique.